Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Ajnana-Dasya Janam-Chala-Shalakaya Chakshumilitam Yena Tasmai Shri-Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya-Manobhishtam Sahitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupam Kadamayam Dadasi Sapadam Sikham Vandeham Shri-Guru Shri-Padakamalam Shri-Gurun Vaishnavam Shri-Rupa Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunakam Jitam Tam Samjivam Vitam Savadutam Parijala Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitam Shah He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagapate Gope Gopika Kanta Radhakam Namostate Tattakam Shaniduram Giri Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Om Chakalpatruvyascha Kripa Sindhuvahevacha Patanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Sivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So in honor of Lord Ramachandra, whose victory is today, we're going to discuss on Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Lila 1532.
Madhya Lila 1532.
Yeah. So this Bengali is quite simple. Vijayotsava
Vijayotsava
Lanka Vijayera Dine Vijayotsava Lanka Vijayera Dine Vijayotsava Lanka Vijayera Dine Banasenya Kela Prabhu Lana Bhaktagane Vanasenya Kela Prabhu Lana Bhaktagane Translation by Srila Prabhupada. On the victory day, celebrating the conquest of Lanka, a day known as Vijayotsava, Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu dressed up all his devotees like monkey soldiers.
Jai.
So let's see there's a purport.
You can try to know devotees today.
There is no need to dress. To dress less.
It's a very important day for us. So basically on the 10th day, which is today of the waxing moon of Padmanabh, which is the month of Padmanabh now, or Asvin sometimes, it's called Asvin. This is Vijayotsava, the victory of Lord Rama. This is the day when Lord Ramachandra, he heard from Hanuman. Remember, Hanuman had been sent out to give the words to Sita that Lord Rama, dear husband, was coming. So this is the day he came back. So he explained to Lord Ram how under this sunny, it's a tree called sunny, it's a type of tree, sunny tree, he had found Sita and seen her even in Lanka. And that day when he got the news, when Hanuman came back, Lord Ramachandra entertained a Utsav festival. In honor, he was so pleased. And the very day, that very same day, he set out for Sri Lanka. So, and the very day also today, Ravan got killed.
Oh, same day.
Yeah. So you can see it's a very important day. It's compressed. Compressed within one day. And of course, we have to understand the context. Lord Ram had to rush back to Ayodhya. Why? Why? Because many of those, because remember Vibhishan, the brother of Ravan, had been enthroned as the successor. So everyone, especially Vibhishan, wanted him to stay longer and enjoy the Lanka kingdom. But Lord Ram was very keen on coming back. Do you know why? There's a very good reason why Lord Ram was so keen to come back hurriedly. Because Bharat, his dear brother, and they're all Vishnu Tattva, by the way, Chateau Vyuha, so they're not Jivatma, they are Supreme Personality of Godhead. Bharat had told him long back, when he was exiled 14 years ago, that if you don't come back after 14 years, I will burn myself alive. So, Lord Ram was quite concerned.
Time is up.
That's why he was so keen to come back early. So that day today is a very good day. We can perform a special puja to Lord Ramachandra, and in honor we can feed the Vaishnavas. It's quite auspicious to do that. So it's called Dasara in northern India. Dasara. And you have seen in India, they burned large effigies of Lord of Ravan, and they burnt it down to the sound of Ram Vijay Ki. So Mahaprabhu, let's go back to that verse from C.C. Madhavendra. Remember, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is avatari. It's not an avatar, it's avatari. Especially in this Kali Yuga, he's avatari. So the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Radhabhav Duti Suvaritam Numi Krishna Swarupam. He is himself Krishna Swarup. But he's got Radhabhav and Duti. So he was totally absorbed in the transcendental lila of Lord Ram. Because he's also like, he happens to be Ram also. So, yes, so this is the verse I just read to you today. And then what happened is, it displayed the emotions of Hanuman. He was posing as actually Hanuman. So he picked up a large tree branch and mounting the walls of Lanka fort, he began to dismantle the fort. And he was totally in the ecstasy of Hanuman, and he was quite angry, and he said, "Where's the rascal Ravan?" He had kidnapped the universal mother, Sita Devi is Mahalakshmi herself. So she's the universal mother, and Ravan had kidnapped her. So Mahaprabhu was in the mood, I shall kill him and all his family. He was quite engrossed in that mood. So everyone was quite astonished to see the emotional ecstasy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and everyone was chanting, all glories to Mahaprabhu and of course to Rama. So let's go into the details a little bit. Remember, so the day is today. He got the news, Sita is alive. He gave, remember, his signet ring as a evidence that he's coming. And she gave back one of her belonging, perhaps some ornament every day. And so the battle is going to start now. And Matali is the charioteer of Lord Indra. So what happened? Indradev had lent his charioteer to Lord Ram. So you can imagine Matali is right in the battle also. So Lord Ram ordered him, please drive quickly towards where Ravan is staying, but be very cautious. But remember, Lord Ram is playing the mood of Mayada Purushottam. So he's playing the mood of a human being. So he was quite shocked to have spoken in such a commanding manner to Matali, so he kind of apologized. Because Matali, after all, is the charioteer of Lord Indradev. Please excuse my offense. So Matali was very touched, but he knew, of course, he knows this is a supreme personality. So he maneuvered his chariot close to Ravan's side, because by this time everyone has been killed. Indrajit had been killed, all the main soldiers of Ravan had been killed, Kumbhakarna had been killed. So there's no hope left except for Ravan to enter the scene, the battle himself. So they started to exchange arrows, and the fighting became so intense, it's mentioned in Ramayana. So the clouds, they were raining blood on the chariot of Rama. Very inauspicious, Ashub. And vultures were following the chariot of Rama. Vultures, so it's very bad omen, vultures. So huge meteor fell nearby, and all the Rakshasas became exceedingly despondent. And Ravan himself couldn't understand. Remember Ravan? Who is Ravan in the first place? Way back, third canto, Jaya Vijayana. So they are basically consciousness of Vaikuntha-vasi. So they are not ordinary people. In advance. And he was kind of convinced that yes, he's going to meet his death. On the other hand, on the side of Lord Ram, many very auspicious signs. Victory will soon be his, and there's going to be a duel. It's going to be a fighting, extremely, amazing, intense fighting between the two. So they're going to exhibit their prowess, and it becomes such a feat beyond human figures, human measurements, that on both sides, both parties, both soldiers stopped fighting.
Stop?
Fighting. Because they were in stupor. The intensity of the battle between those two was beyond words. They stopped fighting. They were just beholding the fight. This is how engrossed they were. They were like motionless, like paintings, beholding the scene. They stopped attacking each other. So first of all, Ravan tried to knock down Indra's flag. Remember, this is the charioteer, the chariot of Lord Indra, with his flag, with his charioteer. So immediately Lord Ram deflected the arrows. So blow for blow, they were fighting, blow for blow. Then Ravan pierced Indra's horses. But remember, those horses are celestial horses. They didn't even bother, even budge an inch. They are transcendental. They didn't stagger even. So Ravan resorted to the Rakshasa power of illusion. Remember the Rakshasas, they are totally beyond humans. They may be ill-intentioned, but in terms of Shakti, it's enormous. Ravan is extremely empowered. Remember, Ravan had, instead of a heart, in his heart, no blood was there. Amrit was flowing through his heart.
Really?
So, when you have Amrit flowing in his heart, practically you are immortal. The only person who could kill him was Rama. So, Ramachandra counteracted all the weapons hurled at him, and unfortunately, all the weapons, since Lord Ramachandra, he kind of bypassed them, but all the weapons fell on the monkeys and they killed so many monkeys also. But we will see that there's a happy ending to that also. So thousands of weapons hurled at each other. And it went on for, you're going to see, it's like days and nights. Endless battle between the two. Great skill, very great skill. And Ravan is, his anger is incited. So he's always trying to pierce Lord Ram, but casually Lord Ram is undisturbed, is discarding easily all the weapons of Ravan. So it's mentioned in Ramayana, it's unparalleled in the history of warfare, this confrontation between the two. Remember, Ravan could exhibit 10 heads.
Mm.
And you behead one head, what happened?
Another one popped.
Pops up. Another one. So, even Lord Ram was astonished. Duplicate head. So Lord Ram was pondering to himself, with these arrows, this bow, I killed Maricha, I killed Bali. Bali was extremely powerful, the big brother of Sugriv. Kara, Virada. I humbled great mountains, agitated the sea, fathomless sea. Still I cannot kill this person. So it went on several days and nights. So at one point, Matali, the charioteer, he ventured to speak to the Lord, and he told him, my dear Lord, you're only defending yourself, simply defensively, you are just in a defensive manner. Why don't you attack a little bit? So Matali had to remind him, because he was so much engrossed as a human being, he forgot practically, just like Lord Krishna, Surya-Maya, he forgot his divinity. So then this is the hour of doom. The hour of doom has rang. So Matali told him, why don't you employ the divine Brahmastra? You're going to see the description of that weapon. Totally beyond words. So that arrow had been given to him by Agastya Muni, extremely powerful sage, one of the original sage. When Lord Ram and Bharat and Lakshman and Sita had been traversing Dandaka forest, Agastya Muni gave him that arrow. This arrow had been constructed personally by Lord Brahma. Crafted by Lord Brahma for the sake of Indra. But later, this arrow ended up in the hands of Agastya Muni. And Agastya Muni delivered it to Lord Ram. So this is parampara. Garud supplied the feathers of that arrow. Garud is the carrier of Lord Vishnu. And the sharp head combined the energy of the fire god, Agni, and the sun god also. Not only that, Mount Meru, Mount Monda contributed their gravity to the arrow's weight. We have to remember all these mountains are personalities. Mount Meru, Mount Monda, they are personalities. They gave gravity to that arrow. It's a transcendental. And the shaft was made from the subtle ethereal elements. The shaft is made of Akash, ether. So totally omnipotent Brahmastra, infallible. Dazzling, and the dazzling effulgence of that arrow bypasses the sun. How dazzling it is. So not only that, but when you have, who can master such an arrow? You yourself have to be totally equipped with all the mantras. You have to remember the arrows, like Dasharat, the father of Lord Ram. Why is he called Dasharat? 10 directions. Why?
He can fight in 10 directions one time.
Yes, and also he could shoot an arrow with particular mantras. That arrow would kill that particular person, not the neighbor. That person. So, practically speaking, the arrow is, what do you say?
Guided missile.
It's head aiming at a particular target. The arrow is propelled by mantras. Exactly here. So what happened? Lord Ram empowered that arrow, the Brahmastra, with the required mantras. Then he placed it on his bowstring. And the monkeys, they gazed upon that flaming arrow, and they were already filled with delight. And the fear penetrated the Rakshasas because they could see this is the end of it. So Ram pulled the arrow so back it touched his ear. then he shot the arrow, and that arrow pierced the chest of the man in the air. They used to fight in the air. This is not regular, like, we are little boys and girls here. World War II is it's like Stone Age. They are fighting mid-air. So that arrow pierced, struck the wicked Ravan in his heart, back out, deep into the earth, and back into the sheaths. You say?
Yeah, the quiver.
The quiver. So this is the skill of Lord Rama. Can well imagine. So immediately great transcendental ecstasy, monkey warriors loudly proclaim Lord Rama's victory. Rakshasa were fleeing away. As demigods shouted from the sky, Sadhu, Sadhu, well done, excellent.
Bravo.
Yeah. So Ravan was finally, you have to understand, Ravan used to master those 3 words. From Lanka, he had such a powerful, of course he had been empowered, he had received that boon from, he was cursed by the 4 Kumars. So demigods, great rishis felt blessed, relief, peace of mind, gentle breeze. And Vibhishan, Lord Ram ordered Vibhishan, the younger brother of Ram, to please perform the funeral rites. But Vibhishan declined. He said, no, it's such a rascal. It's not proper. But Ram didn't agree. He said, no, you have to. It's Vedic, you do it. And we will see that even Lakshman will be sent by Ram, because what happened is Ravan was almost died, but he was still feebly alive. And at one point, Lord Ram is going to send Lakshman to learn from Ram. Can you imagine?
Learn from Rama.
So from Ravan. So much Ravan, he was a Brahmin, huh?
He was a Brahmin.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
He was a Brahmin. Remember, it's very interesting. His genealogy is very interesting. His father had 2 wives. One wife was demigoddess, with whom he begot.
The treasurer of the demigod.
Yes, very good.
Kuver.
And the father had, because this Rakshasi woman, she was very intelligent. She said, the father of Rama, I forgot his name, like a rishi, great rishi. And that Rakshasi woman, she figured out, if I can get a child from that man, what kind of child? So she, and he succumbed. So he gave her that Rama. He gave her many children actually. So he was a Brahmin. His father was a great rishi. So Lakshman Lord Ram will tell Lakshman, please go and inquire from him. It's a great so, we have to remember the whole picture. Huh?
Inquire from who?
Lakshman. Lord Ram told Lakshman, you please inquire. You go and inquire philosophy from Ravan.
From Rama.
Ravan was also steeped in wisdom, but of course misused that. It was meant to happen because
before he even started the war, actually Lord Ram, they thought he was the priest. Ravana was the priest. So before they start the war, they do a certain puja. Ravana was the priest.
Paka Brahmin.
He was meant. I mean, of course, it's a curse. So he was meant to become antagonistic towards Vishnu, and he played his part very well. So finally, Vibhishan surrendered to the order of Ram because initially he didn't want to perform the rites, funeral rite, and then the woman came, so many women, rolling in the dust, mad women, basically embracing different parts of Ravan's body. Oh my lord, my husband. But they were quite, of course, everyone knew that his greater mistake was he had kidnapped Sita. I remember, so that's totally, it's assumed, it's You cannot kidnap someone else's wife, even today. You cannot do that. So the wives were lamenting, but at the same time they were aware of the reason. Then who is the main wife of Rama?
Mandodari?
Mandodari. She hails from Ujjain, from Avantika. Avantika is a very old place, extremely old place. Avantika, Ujjain, is so old that King Indradyumna, the grandson of Lord Brahma, going back to the dawn of this kalpa, the great son of Lord Brahma, King Indradyumna, he hailed from Avantika. So can you imagine how old this is? Talking about billions of years. Billions. So Mandodari was the main queen, and this is what she said, she was quite Krishna conscious actually. My dear husband, even though you were so powerful, you could not stand before Lord Ram. You were too proud because of your acquired prowess, and so you became a great burden for the earth. You foolishly could not understand that it was Lord Vishnu himself who had descended upon the earth as Lord Ram, and in order to relieve her of that burden. O Ravan, your sinful passion for Sita has turned out to be the cause for the destructions of all the Rakshasas. You always masqueraded as a great hero, but you were actually proven to be a coward when you deceitfully kidnapped Sita. So she's quite heavy. He left the body, but still she knows. But still, amazingly, what happened? She fainted. This is the love of a wife. She may criticize the husband like anything, but still she loves him. It's amazing. Women can reconcile contraries. they have this prerogative. Men are not so good for that sometimes. It's black or white with men.
Yeah.
So she fainted and her head on the chest of Ravan. And the co-wives lifted her and revived her. And then Vibhishana, he performed the funeral rites. So then who came out? Malyavan came out. Malyavan is the maternal grandfather.
Oh.
Ravan. He came out. So then they performed the funeral rite a little distance away, going south, particular place, extremely auspicious place. They cremated his body, returned to Lanka. And now a very interesting episode you will see with Sita. It's quite mind-boggling, I would say. So Lord Ram, he had been angry, obviously. To kill someone you have to be angry, just like Arjun,
Yeah.
But he now assumed his gentle appearance. He laid aside his bow, arrows, armor, very peaceful. And of course, I didn't tell you, the demigods, they were showing flowers and they were celebrating Ram Vijay today. And Matali took permission to depart back to Indralok. Ram granted that. Then Ram ordered Lakshman to enthrone Vibhishan. He has to be enthroned because, remember, Lanka had no more kings, so the populace is totally bewildered, no kings. Lakshman gave golden vessels to the chief monkeys, and he told them, you please go around the earth, fetch waters from the 4 different seas. Lakshman performed the installation ceremony, big sacrificial arena, and Vibhishan was very Krishna conscious. He received so many gifts, but he handed them over to Lord Ram. He was a great, great soul, Vibhishan. And now this is the episode. Lord Ram ordered Hanuman, you please go and find out where Sita is. Of course he knew because he had been there before. So please inform her that I have killed Ravan and return here, and she may give you a message, by the way. If ever she does, please tell me the message. So he went to that Ashoka grove, right? Ashok, it's particular tree, and he found Sita, totally grief-stricken. Your husband has sent me here to give you this message. After many sleepless months, I have finally been able to accomplish my vow to rescue you. Rama is dead, you can give up your anxiety. So Sita was totally beaming with joy, totally happy. She was quite emaciated. Hanuman remained silent. Sita could not even speak. She was so much elated. And she offered a beautiful necklace out of gratitude to Hanuman because the news is such overwhelming. And she couldn't even speak. And Hanuman suggested, if you want, I can kill all these Rakshasi women surrounding you because they have been tormenting you. But of course, she's such a noble lady. She said, no, I just suffered because of my karma. Can you imagine this? Shakti Tattva. She's not Shakti Tattva, person of fire. Of course, you're going to see this is Maya Sita. This particular Sita is Maya Sita. You're going to see this beautiful episode. So, and she's going to tell a story to Hanuman in order to explain her plea not to kill those Rakshasi women. She's going to tell an old adage, an old proverb. This is having to do with a bear. A bear. So she told Hanuman, you know, my dear Hanuman, a great man never takes into account the offenses of others. It's a great lesson she's going to impart onto all of us. We should never take into account offenses that are committed against oneself. And in the sense, we should not, like we say, tit for tat. Evil, okay, he has done evil against me, let me perform evil against him. It escalates endlessly. So she said, no, and let me tell you a story. There was one hunter being chased by a tiger. So, in order to escape the tiger, the hunter climbed the tree. But it so happened that in the tree there was a bear. Yeah. So then the tiger tried to compromise. He tried to strike a deal with the bear. He said, look, this is a human who is an enemy for both of us. So you please throw the guy. And I will spare you, and I will eat the man. So basically, the bear was quite wise. He said, no, he has taken shelter of my tree. I cannot do anything to harm him. So, no, that would be unrighteous. So the bear refused flatly, and he went to sleep in the tree.
Hibernate.
Now the tiger, he changed his vest. He turned, we say in French, turn over his vest. Put it the other side. It's an expression. It means now the bear is sleeping. Tiger is telling the man, speaking to the man now, my dear friend. Before he was enemy, he said, my dear friend, I'll spare you. You push the bear off the tree. So I can eat him, and I will spare him. What does the man do? The hunter? He pushes the bear. Can you imagine how ungrateful?
Ungrateful.
But the bear is a bear. He wakes up while falling, he catches a branch. So he doesn't follow the bear. Now the tiger, he's got it, he has a full picture now. He's telling the bear, did you see this rascal? He's pushing you. He didn't tell him that.
I told him to do it.
Because the bear was sleeping there. So you push, now you push him. And again the bear is saying the same lesson. No, he has managed to, he took shelter of my tree, of my branch. No, we should never take into account others' offenses. And we should not vow to return evil for evil. So such a lesson. So Sita, she told that story to Hanuman, and not done the point. So now, this is the message of Sita to her dear husband, via the medium of Hanuman. I long to see my dear husband, who is known to, he has always been very affectionate towards me, towards unloyal devotees. Hanuman replied, rest assured he will come very, very soon, this day itself, to rescue you. So then what happened is, Hanuman went back, and he urged Lord Ram, please, she's waiting for you, please go and meet her. She has suffered so much for you. You should go to the Ashok Grove and meet her. But the tears start rolling on the cheeks of Lord Ram. And then he was downcast. And he ordered Vibhishan, have Sita brought to me, because Vibhishan is the new king now, he's newly king, newly enthroned. Have her bathed, dressed, decorated with celestial ornaments. So Vibhishan went there, and he told the Rakshasi woman, because you cannot immediately enter as a man, such a great lady, so you have to tell Rakshasi woman that someone wants to have darshan of Sita. And very submissively he approached her. Lord Ram would like to see you. But please brace yourself. And she wanted to go like this. She was so much eager and to go. I don't want to bathe in that. Let me go straight. She said, no, Lord Ram instructed. You better go, better get ready, prepare yourself. That will bring auspiciousness. So she was placed on the palanquin, and she brought before her husband. Vibhishan came first, and he could see heads down of Lord Ram, as if he was absorbed in deep thought. So Vibhishan announced, Sita is arriving in the palanquin behind from afar, is announcing, she's arriving, Lord Ram, asked that she can be brought to me immediately. So the monkeys didn't know Sita, they had never saw Mother Sita. So everyone was, beholding her. So Vibhishan was making way for her to proceed towards her husband. There was a great commotion. But Lord Ram intervened. He said, no, don't annoy the monkeys. I won the battle because of them. He told Vibhishan, don't harass them. There's nothing wrong if a chaste woman is seen in public during the time of adversity or during the time of war, during a sayambara, during a wedding, and during a sacrifice. She can be seen, even such a noble lady can be seen in public. So let the monkeys see her. That was an order from Lord Ram. And not only that, he told Vibhishan, you please tell her to step down from the palanquin. That's unheard of, such a noble lady to step down.
You don't touch the ground.
She had to come to me on foot. Quite unheard of. So Vibhishan escorted her, and everyone could see, the monkeys could see, Lord Ram was in quite a stern mood, very grave, very stern. So they were surprised, they were surprised actually. Why Lord Ram is making Sita walking within public view? So everyone could figure, no one told him, because he's so stern. But his demeanor was so severe. Do you have any idea? We can have a little interaction here. Why Lord Ram was so severe with her? It's not finished, you will see. How he will speak to her, very bluntly. Why? Of course, it's Ramayana. I'm not going to disclose it now. I'll let you find out soon. And so Sita was innocently approaching her husband, great shyness, shrinking into herself. She saw the beautiful, handsome face of Lord Rama. Immediately, all her miseries vanished. The face is shining brightly like a moon. She's gazing at her husband with great love and affection. And Lord Ram, he was waiting for that. He vented out his pent-up inner feelings and his fall. What was the intent of Lord Ram? Let's hear the words, but we have to try to understand what is his intent in speaking such harsh words to his own wife, to his dear wife. Any idea why Lord Ram became so heavy at this point in time with his wife?
I could speculate.
It's a lot, Prabhu. We are amongst ourselves.
All this trouble happened because she didn't follow his instruction.
Yeah,
When they were in the forest.
That's not the reason, but it's a very good reason.
But he's setting an example that he is dharma personified, you know.
Yes, definitely.
I didn't want to compromise.
Remember, he's hailing from which dynasty?
Chandra?
Surya.
Surya.
Be careful, it's like
Krishna Chandra.
Ishvaku ancestors, it's very, very powerful. And all the ancestry of Ram is immaculate. All the kings are totally sinless. So he was tormented by fear for the repute of his dynasty. He wants to keep it stainless, impeccable. So he was angry. Look, listen to his words. I fulfilled my vow to win you back and thus avenge Ravan's insult to my honor. But you must understand that my great endeavor to kill the king of the Rakshasas was not actually for your sake.
Not actually for?
For your sake, my dear Sita.
Oh.
Can you imagine? I did this just to vindicate my good name and that of the Ishvaku dynasty. So it's heavy. Truthfully, your appearance before me is not at all pleasing.
Wow.
Can you imagine? You are free to go wherever you like.
Wow.
No cultured man will accept a wife who has been embraced by another man, who has lived in someone else's house. I'm sure that no woman could have remained with Raman for so long without having been enjoyed by him.
Wow.
Raman was obsessed by lust for you. How could he have controlled himself and refrain from enjoying you by force? By killing Raman, I've regained my honor, but there's no need for me to have any more attachment for you.
Wow.
Hey.
Heavy.
You are now free to do as you like. Fix your mind upon Lakshman, Bharat, or anyone else. You may choose.
Really?
See,
It's heavy.
this is the anger of God. While listening to this speech, Sita, can you imagine?
Okay.
She bent her head low with shame. And she never heard Sita in such, Lord Ram in such a demeanor. Always beautiful words, pleasing words, loving words to her. So it's like piercing her heart deeply, bitterly weeping. And can you imagine, it's public view. So many Rakshasas, monkeys. So it's very difficult for women to endure Sita, Lord Ram's reproaches. Yes, Prabhu?
Is he speaking like this to Vedavati, Maya Sita, or original Sita?
No, don't go so fast.
Don't go so fast.
This is Maya Sita.
You told us before that it's Maya.
Yeah. It's coming. We're coming to that. So she's wiping the tears, and now she speaks out. Interesting thought. How can you dare speak about me in such an irresponsible manner? Never for a moment did I give up my chastity by body, mind, and words. My character is pure, and so you should not judge me as if I was an ordinary woman. Although I'm called Janaki, remember, daughter of King Janaka.
Janaka.
My birth is transcendental, I appeared from the earth. Lord Ram, if all along you had cruelly planned to reject me in this way, why didn't you inform me when Hanuman came in the first place as a messenger?
Mm-hmm.
If I had known that you didn't intend to take me back, I would have immediately given up my life and avoided many months of unbearable suffering. You could have avoided this ghastly war that has taken the lives of countless Rakshasas and monkeys, Vanaras. Why was the need of demanding so much service from your allies? Why are you acting like this? Does my pure devotion mean nothing to you? Then she turned to Lakshman, you please build a large fire. I will enter the fire. This is my only path left that remains for me. I've been rejected by my husband in public. There's no way around. So, can you imagine Lakshman is brother-in-law. So he's trying to suppress his agitation. He looked at Ram and he could read on the face of Lord Ram, yes, he approved. Lord Ram approved that his wife committed suicide. So he prepared the fire, and Lord Ram was so intense, so stern. No one dared even to question, to speak, or even to approach him, to pacify him. Fire is blazing brightly now. Sita circumambulated Lord Ram, and coming before the fire with folded hands, she bowed down to the demigods, Brahmins. She offered prayers to Agnidev. O God of fire, because my heart has never turned away from Lord Ram, please protect me. Although I've never been unfaithful to Lord Ram in thought, word, or deed, he accuses me of being polluted. Therefore, O Lord of fire, seer of all within the 3 worlds, I request you to become the witness of my purity. And this is the transition. This is the transition. She circumambulated the fire, and everyone was looking on with great wonder. She entered the flame. And all the Rakshasi women even, they started lamenting, because they are women. They know what it takes for women to enter. Some women used to do that bravely and honorably. Certainly, it happens in long back. Actually, the British stopped it in 19th century, or perhaps early 20th century, because there were some abuses. There were some Indians were so fanatical. Push the woman, go, you have to go. Yeah. So British had to stop it. But Prabhupada said in his young age, he remembered one incident when one lady, she did it wholeheartedly. Because the story, the philosophy behind is Sati, right? That the pain of being separated from the husband is so great that the pain of the fire is soothing her.
Yeah.
This is how it goes. Amazing it is to understand it. So now she enters the fire. Everyone is screaming with horror, anguish. Lord Ram appears very thoughtful. And now the demigods, can you imagine? Hurriedly, the principal, Ishtadev, the master demigods, they're coming down on the Viman. Yeah. Lord Ram stood before them, and with folded hands, demigods headed by Lord Brahma. Can you imagine? Brahma came down. Lord Shiv, O Supreme Personality of Godhead, O Lord Ramachandra, we are very pained to see how you are neglecting your concept, eternal concept, Mother Sita. You are the creator of the universe and the Lord of all the demigods. Why don't you recognize your divinity? Didn't you recognize your divinity? Instead of rejecting Sita as if you were a common man. Lord Ram replied, I consider myself to be an ordinary human being, the son of Maharaj Dasharatha. If there's something more to be said, perhaps you, Brahma, can disclose it. So he turns to Brahma. So he's very intelligent. It doesn't want to do it himself. My dear Lord Ram, Lord Brahma is speaking. I will now reveal your real identity. You are directly Lord Narayana. So everyone can hear. The monkeys, the Rakshasas. Lord Brahma is speaking. Lord Brahma came down in Lanka himself. You are directly Lord Narayana. You are identical with all the forms of Vishnu Tattva. You are a plenary expansion of Lord Sri Krishna. Ramadi Bhutishu Kalani Yamina Tishtan. Don't remember? Is right after Lord Krishna, who is the most powerful? Two personalities, Lord Ram and Lord Nrsimha. They are Shadishvaya Punya Bhagavan. Right after Lord Krishna. Ramadi Bhutishu Kalani Yamina Tishtan. You are the cause of all causes, you are the universal form, the support of the cosmic manifestation. We are demigods, we are just part and parcel of yourself. Mother Sita is none other than Lakshmi herself. So anyway, it's going to, and what's going to happen is, as Brahma finished speaking, Agnidev comes on the other side of the fire with carrying Sita, the real Sita, in his arms.
Wow.
So this is real Sita. The Maya Sita stayed in the fire and comes out the other side, transcendental Sita. So she's totally dressed in red, body is bright, effulgent, ornaments, no signs of burns, nothing. So everyone is totally stunning. This is the evidence that she's the mother of the universe. Her chastity is intact. Agni announced to Lord Ram, this is your dear wife. She's completely pure and devoid of even the least tinge of sin. Sita was never the slightest bit unfaithful to you by word, thought, or plans. And now Lord Ram is pleased, finally.
He's what?
He's quite pleased.
Oh.
Because he wanted that to
Be stated.
yeah. I've got 5 minutes. Perhaps we can speak about Madhavendra.
Yes.
Which we need 2 hours. 1 hour for Lord, right? 1 hour for Madhavendra. So, Lord Sitaram Lakshman Hanuman ki. Ram Vijay ki. Yes, so Madhavendra is an extremely great personality. From which Sampradaya we belong to?
See?
Brahma Madhva. Brahma Madhva Gaudiya Sampradaya.
So, thanks to Baladev Vidyabhushan, we have seen in the Gita of Srila Prabhupada, it's written on the first page. I dedicate this book to Baladev Vidyabhushan. Why? Because without him, we wouldn't be Brahma. Remember, we were orphans. We were orphans. Mahaprabhu is Shanavata, never did he disclose his divinity. A few times, but very rarely. So we were orphans. In the beginning, we were called Nimai Sampradaya. Right after Mahaprabhu left.
Nimai Sampradaya.
Yeah, but it didn't last long. So it went on for some time, no problem, because Mahaprabhu was so powerful that for a few generations, Narottam Das Thakur, Srinivasacharya, Shamananda Pandit, it carried on. But after some time, things decay, the tattva becomes put aside. This is Kali Yuga. So the person who did that job, we can never thank him enough, Baladev Vidyabhushan, because he was himself a Tadvavadi. Tadvavadi means followers of Madhva. They are from Udupi, no Karnataka. And what happened, he was a staunch sannyasi, very powerful in the Tadvavadi, in philosophy of Tadva. What is the philosophy of Madhva? Dvaitavad. Dvaitavad means two. It's not like big trees, like this or no. Means Jeev is separate from Paramatma. Dvaitavad. So this Baladev Vidyabhushan, as he was roaming the land preaching, he went to Puri and he got converted by Radharaman Dev Goswami, who himself was a Gaudiya.
Wow.
He was a staunch Gaudiya, and they had a debate, they were very friendly, but they were debating, and Baladev was blown away by the philosophy of Mahaprabhu. Achintya Bed Abed. So
Top was
he kind of surrendered to that sannyasi. But then that sannyasi, Radharaman Goswami, told him, I'm no one, I'm just a little boy. If you want to see, you go and see Vishwanath Chakravarti in Vrindavan. So he was there, he went there, and for 1 or 2 decades he was trained by Vishwanath Chakravarti. And then he came down, I'm going astray now, I want to speak to my Vajrayana.
Baladev Vijayotsava was in South India also. He got trained by Madhavites.
He was a Tadvavadi.
He was a Tattva, yeah.
He was a Tadvavadi. He was initiated in the Banba Sampradaya. He hailed from Bengal or Bangladesh. I mean, those days was not Bangladesh, but as he went down the south, he took initiation. He was trained as a very staunch sannyasi, Tadvavadi, but he got converted to Gaudiya. Because of him only, later they had a debate with the Ramanandis in Galta, near Jaipur, and he wrote Govinda Bhajan, totally dictated by Lord Govind himself, in 1 week or 2. He submitted to the Ramanandis because they were claiming, now you cannot worship Radha Krishna together, it's bogus.
My gosh.
You can worship Lord Krishna, but no, we don't want to see Srimati Radharani.
Right.
And even the king of Jaipur was baffled, he didn't have the strength to counteract. So then, Baladev came down, he wrote the Govinda Bhajan, the dictation of Lord Govind, he submitted.
How long took him to write it?
1 or 2 weeks.
Oh my gosh.
So when they read, they said, no problem.
Yeah.
They were so
Govinda
much,
speaks.
they were totally blown away.
Govinda speaks.
And they admitted. And so now, because, see, in order to claim as a bona fide sampradaya, you need to write a tika on the Vedanta Sutra. So he did with Govinda Bhajan. So now we are bona fide sampradaya because of him we are linked up to Brahma. Even though, be careful, doesn't mean we embrace wholeheartedly the philosophy of Tadvavadi, be careful. When Mahaprabhu came and met them in 1530 or so, he had a debate in those days in UP with the Tadvavadis, and he found lots of discrepancies. He told them, look, you are just into Varnashram Dharma. This is not the goal. You already have strayed away from Madhva, even in those days. And they admitted, they said yes. So there's a common thing, but we are Achintya Beda Beda.
Yeah.
Their philosophy is Dvaitava. I'll stop here because what can I do? I can speak 5 hours, but I mean, I don't want to put you behind your services and prasad and all. It's like that. Hare Krishna. If you have any questions.
So you said because of Baladev Vijayotsava, you have connection with Madhva Sampradaya.
That is why Srila Prabhupada dedicated this Gita.
Rama Madhva Gaudiya Sampradaya. So this Gaudiya term, so who is it converted? Baladev? Ramananda?
The Ramanandis.
Ramanandis.
The Ramanandis, they were the sect. It's basically an offshoot of the Sri Vaishnava. And they had been settled in Galta, Jaipur for a long time, 1 or 2 centuries, when Baladev came. So they were trying to maintain their dignity and their rights, because they are the key Brahmins there. They have privileges. So now this Baladev is coming and trying to topsy-turvy everything. So they were not happy. They were a bit caste conscious, Smarta Brahman. So that he just straightened them out, right, And so, because of him, we are now entitled to worship Radha Krishna, and we are officially part of the Brahma. But again, we should not identify to so much, because it was a trick. It's a trick to be recognized as bona fide sampradaya, but we fly our own airplane. We don't need them to fly. So we fly our own airplane. We have Mahaprabhu behind us. But still, we should be grateful that Baladev is
Respectful.
respectful and grateful. Yes, Prabhu.
When Lord Chaitanya was traveling, he met this Brahmana, Kurma Brahmana,
Yeah.
who was he was fasting. He was so disturbed that Madhusita got kidnapped by
No, it was
Rama.
not
Yeah.
Kurma Brahmana.
Not the Kurma.
Not Kurma, yeah.
Vasudev.
Yeah, it's a different one.
Vasudev.
And
Vipra.
Lord Chaitanya, he found
The man is
Kurma
correct,
Pura.
Kurma Purana.
Oh, okay, that's what it was. In
You
Kurma
get the
Purana
things
is
mixed up.
mentioned that Madhusita never got
Yeah, that's true. So
kidnapped actually.
definitely, it's a beautiful.
So then the question is that not mentioned in the Ramayana?
It's in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. I don't know the Ramayana by heart. So
But the story that you just told that Madhusita went into the fire and then Agnidev, is not explained.
it's
What
explained. Do you know Ramayana? If it is mentioned in Ramayana, Prabhu?
No, it is not mentioned.
Not mentioned.
It's only in our ISKCON we discuss about it. But the original Ramayana, no one knows. It was Maya Sita, Vedavati.
Yeah, Mahaprabhu bypassed Lord Rama. So
Yeah.
he's the original Lord Ram, so that's total tatwa.
So it's Mahaprabhu who
Ascertained.
ascertained that because he found evidence in Kurma
Yeah.
Purana.
Yeah. So
Because this Brahmana was not believing, so that's why
Yeah.
Mahaprabhu goes and brings this book.
true. And he didn't even cook for Mahaprabhu. He was meant to cook and he couldn't cook.
He couldn't cook. He was so disturbed.
So that's Siddhant Prabhu. That's Mahaprabhu's mention, so it's up. It's totally Mahasiddhanta.
Gosh.
That was the temple he goes, Adikeshava temple.
Yeah,
That's where he finds
This is where
To
he
find,
found also
the
fifth
Brahma
chapter of
Samhita.
Brahma Samhita.
that was
And
lost.
Kurma Purana.
Yeah.
The Brahma Samhita was lost.
Yeah.
The 5th chapter.
Actually, there were 100 chapters to Brahma Samhita. Hare Krishna, thank you very much.
Right.
Hare Krishna, thank you very much. Lord Ram ki, Madhvacharya ki.
Right.